Hey y'all. Okay, so another video that I would like to talk about. Possibly one of the hardest things next to having to learn how to live with one eye for me. So with me having lupus, one of the things that they tell you as a lupus patient is avoid the sun. The sun is bad for you. For some reason, the UV rays and the lupus just don't mix with each other. That was excruciatingly difficult for me. And it still is. Like, I still get upset every summer. But that ain't helping nothing. So, I figured I'd tell y'all some of the stuff that I do. Before I got sick, my best friend and I were the type of people that every time that it got warm enough, like from the time that it was summer to the time that it was too cold to be outside, if we were both off work, us and the kids were out in the water. If we didn't have the kids, we were floating down the river, stuff like that. I mean, we were, I guess what you'd call like river rats or whatever. I don't know. But we loved it. We would tan and just spend hours out there. And it was the most peaceful thing in the world. But we've had to kind of change the way that we do things a little bit. And I was very angry about that. I did not like it. I tried to fight it at first, and it actually caused me to get a little worse. So, being hard-headed gets me nowhere in life. I've learned that. I tried to ignore the whole sun thing at first, and then I started having what's called discoid lupus, which for me looks like ringworms, and it's so embarrassing. I had them all over my arms, my face. I mean, it was a really bad flare-up of it. So I can still go outside. I'm not a vampire, but I just have to be careful, and it looks a little different than it used to. And that's okay. My best friend still loves me, and we still do stuff. We just have to limit our time outside. So here is what I do personally. So I use umbrellas. They actually sell umbrellas that are made UV umbrellas. And a lot of them have like really pretty prints on them and stuff. I'm a sucker for a pretty umbrella. But I use an umbrella. If I know that I'm going outside, I take an umbrella. If we're going to the beach or something, we have a tent that is like a pop-up tent that we can get into. We use those. I use tons of sunscreen. I use the higher, like 50 and up SPF, and I will use it every 30 minutes just to be safe, just to make sure that I'm not doing too much when it comes to the sun. I also watch the weather. If I know that I'm going to be outside that day, I will pull up the weather app and I watch, and they have a spot on it that says UV index, and you can kind of go through and it'll show you the different, waves of the day for the UV. So I check it and kind of, if I can plan my day around what that UV is going to be or how high it's going to be, then I will. If I can't plan my day around that, then I just try to limit it. Take an umbrella, use sunscreen, stay in the shade if you can. Like, if you're going to be outside, just take the extra precautions to save yourself from a flare-up. I do feel like heat intolerance is kind of a thing as well with the sun situation, because I do feel like if I get too hot, then sometimes I'll go into a flare as well. So I just try to be really careful. Like, I know neck fans are always good too. When we go to like football games and stuff, I'll take an umbrella and a neck fan and stuff like that. And just really try to avoid being out in the direct sunlight, because that makes the lupus very ragey. So, that was honestly probably the hardest thing for me. One of them, I mean, besides, the eyeball, that one was a bummer, but the having to change the routine and not being able to lay out in the sun and stuff, and I know that's dangerous and everything, but it was just peaceful for me, and it was something that my best friend and I kind of did together, and we enjoyed it so much. And so when it had to change, that was just another one of those things that I really struggled with. And I still have my moments where I get angry about stuff. I'm human. I'm going to. But at the end of the day, just because it looks different doesn't mean that it has to be a sad thing. I can still go outside. I just have to be more careful. And it's okay. So just be careful. And not everybody's lupus reacts to the sun. I've spoken to people that said that they can go in the sun just fine and they have no issues. And that's great. And I'm happy for them. Totally not jealous at all. But anyway, so that is my tips and tricks for the sun and living like a little vampire. And it's really not that bad, I promise. It feels like it at first because you want to be mad, and I get that. But anyways, if you have any questions or any video suggestions or anything, just let me know, and please like and subscribe, and what else is there? Something like, subscribe, share, something, I don't know. But thank y'all for listening, and God bless.